Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, ruining pro wrestling podcasting since 2014. On today's episode, we've got, of course, AEW and NXT reviews. We're going to be talking about the news that you want us to talk about. But first, news that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So
namely,
where do you
Stone
want
Cold.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hold on, Steve. You can do his quote in his voice here. So, of course, Stone Cold was involved in a bit of an incident. Night 2, WrestleMania 41, crashed his ATV into the guardrail, knocking a fan back off the guardrail. So, Stone Cold was on the Ariel Helwani show recently and talked about that crash and explained, in his estimation, how it happened. These transcripts come to you from Fightful. That's what Stone Cold had to say. Take it away, Steve.
Different throttle setup than what I'm used to. Long story short, just a different throttle system. I'm pretty dang handy on a four-wheeler. I was embarrassed by it. I think everybody is okay. You go out there on the biggest night in wrestling, you end up like that. It's not the greatest day at the office. You go out there and you want to give people the best show that you can, and when you fall short of that, it's not great.
End quote.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not great. You know, assuming he's got all the most relevant and current information. Hopefully everybody's fine. No one got hurt. First and foremost. I know that the woman that got kind of knocked back from the barricade did not look happy, and understandably so.
Yeah. Did we ever get any kind of confirmation as to, like, you know, was there any sort of what would be restitution recompense for the lady that got, you know, that took the big, you know, did the big LBJ flop?
I don't. As far as I know, there's been no news, either official or unofficial, in terms of what kind of negotiations may have taken place. Because Nick Khan was out there right away.
He was out there really quickly
addressing the situation. Yes.
Yeah, man. Boy, a lot of people were like, "Darn it, if only I was right there." Oh, you know, big flopperoo. But I'm not assuming she flopped. Maybe she was, maybe something happened there. I don't know.
That
I know
ATV was coming towards that barricade pretty darn fast.
It was. Yeah, it was. So hopefully everybody's okay there, and maybe she got paid out a little bit of something, or maybe not. Who knows? In any event, he also talked about, because somebody in our thread also asked about this. He addressed that Logan Paul had said apparently that he offered Stone Cold Steve Austin $1 million to dress up in the Prime bottle. I watched the clip of this, Austin responding to the question about that. He didn't seem too happy that info got out there, because it's like, he's obviously, the subtext of his response is, that's way beneath me. I'm not going to take $1 million to dress up like an asshole in a Prime suit. And by the way, this guy's kind of a prick for even asking me. It's like kind of disrespectful. That was the subtext that I got from it. Yeah. But I have the quote here. dailymail.co.uk has the quote here. And he said this, because, you know, people might want more of the Stone Cold voice, Lars.
Sure. Oh, yeah. That's the assumption. Yeah.
Here's the quote.
So since it's out there, I turned it down. I'm in the beer business. I sell Broken Skull beer. And, you know, we're in about 25 or 30 states. I don't know anything about his product. I don't know the ingredients in it, if it's good, if it's bad, or whatever. So, you know, it just wasn't my thing. So, you know, I turned it down just because I wasn't into it. And that's no disrespect to him or his product. It's just not my gimmick, you know. Like I said, he's doing really well. Obviously, he's hustling. He's going and getting it, and more power to him. It just wasn't a great fit for Steve Austin.
End quote.
That mealy mouse son of a bitch, Logan Paul, with his beady red eyes.
Was that also on Helwani, his show?
That particular, yeah. Helwani brought it up, yeah, I believe so. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure I saw Helwani on. Yeah, it was okay, yeah. So yeah,
big ol' fuck you to Logan Paul. Are you gonna pay me $1 million in your crypto scam money?
Oh man. Anyway,
Let's talk about this. Of course, there's been a lot of talk earlier this week, or there was a lot of talk earlier this week about Liv Morgan getting a huge role in an upcoming movie. Like a lot of the early reporting is that it was massive. Huge.
it girl status.
So the role in question that Liv got was revealed yesterday via Deadline. That's a huge Hollywood industry type periodical. And the site reports that Morgan will star alongside Shun Oguri and Lily James in Takashi Miike's upcoming film Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. So for those who may not be aware, Takashi Miike, Japanese filmmaker, been making movies for years.
And an incredibly prolific one. This guy pumps movies out like crazy. To a variety degree of, from what I understand, of acclaim. The movies that are most loved by Takashi Miike are incredibly loved. Audition, Ishii the Killer.
Yep.
There's a couple out there that have achieved like real, big status in Japan, but certainly cult status in a very, very huge way over here. But he makes a lot of movies.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
And so when I saw this is the kind of thing where it's like, wow, that's really cool for her to be in a Miike movie and like a take on Bad Lieutenant, which itself, like, didn't Werner Herzog direct the second Bad Lieutenant
Yeah,
movie?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. With like Nicolas Cage, I think.
That sounds right. I'll double check.
I think that's what it was. Which I've never
familiar.
seen, but I was always like really interested in checking it out, but I just never bothered to. But I think Miike also did Gozu, which is one that I saw, which is just a fucking batshit crazy movie.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah, go check out Audition. Audition's great.
Yeah, real fucked up movie.
Yeah.
But so this is really, really great for her. But like, I don't know, when we had heard the initial thing, like, oh, this is going to be a big, big deal. I'm assuming, I think it's going to be, and I could be totally wrong about this. I don't know that he's done any English language movies. And so I know this is from Wikipedia told me anyways, or from what, IMDb maybe said this is a joint US Japanese, production.
Yeah, that's what it says
so
in Deadline too.
I don't know maybe I read on Deadline. I don't know if this is going to get major distribution here in the States or not. Certainly it'll be on streaming at some
Apparently
point.
it already has distribution from a company called Neon.
Okay. Oh, Neon, they have American, they're set up here in the States.
Yeah, because it says Neon will handle the theatrical release in North America.
Didn't Neon do, the guy who did Drive.
Nicholas.
Winding
Yeah,
Rain.
yeah.
Didn't they? I swear to something
That
like
sounds
that.
familiar.
I don't know. In any event, I feel like this movie definitely has like the ability to be kind of a cult situation. I don't know if this is going to be a big blockbuster situation that'll launch her into the mainstream. I guess is my point.
Yeah. I think you're onto something there. Takashi Miike has, I think a pretty loyal following.
Yeah.
In terms of his work. And people who know film know his name.
Yeah.
And so, it's we talked about this the other day, and early reporting suggested this wasn't going to be like a Marvel movie or a superhero movie. So we thought, all right, it's going to be some other tentpole type movie, or she's going to work with a prestige filmmaker.
Yeah.
And it ends up prestige filmmaker.
Oh, so they okay, this is why I know it. They distributed Long Legs. Which was a pretty big deal last year rather. Parasite back in 2019. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, The Monkey also. So the Oz Perkins movies. It looks like they've got the distribution on those. So
according to Deadline, Liv is playing the daughter of a politician that has gone missing.
Hopefully she's not missing through too much of the movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
If he's on the trying to find her, I don't know how much screen time that role is going to get, but maybe it'll be plenty. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be a lot. I mean, regardless, working with somebody like Takashi Miike, that's a pretty big deal for anybody. So cool for Liv Morgan.
Yep.
And yeah, that'll be interesting to see when that comes out.
Yep.
You ever see the original Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel?
No.
He shows Hog in that,
I've heard that.
I've never seen that movie before, but
And
I
you
know
were
that
correct
amount.
about Werner Herzog doing the second one with Nicolas Cage, set in New Orleans.
Yeah, right. In New Orleans, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So probably an interesting movie. Before we talk about the sponsor for today's show, let's talk about this real quick, man.
Oh, gosh.
Are you excited about Hulk Hogan?
No.
Okay, can I please finish here?
All right.
Eric Bischoff.
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm not done. Getting into the world of freestyle wrestling.
Probably not. I don't know.
Earlier this week, man, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff teased a new endeavor in a really lame NWO style. You know, they're both so old, and they're just doing they got the fake. It's like a fake version of the TNA fake NWO theme.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
And it's in black and white, and they're giggly, and they're like, "Oh, look what we got coming up!" And I'm like, "This thing, it's like 30 seconds. This thing's already going on too long."
Yeah.
And so they're going to reveal a third person, and so I think there was a lot of speculation it was going to be like a podcast, which would be wild if fact checked. That'd be amazing if they did a podcast and the third man was a fact checker.
Yeah, I know. That third man would be hella busy, man.
That third man would be most of the show.
Hulkster, I'm sorry, that's not how things happened.
Yeah, it turns out it is freestyle wrestling coach Izzy Martinez, who runs his own freestyle wrestling camp, dojo, whatever you call it, gym, I guess.
Yeah.
And is a pretty well-known name in those circles right there. And evidently Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff are coming in to, I guess, lend some promotional heft to trying to popularize, I guess, a freestyle wrestling promotion. I was watching those other guys at the Wrestling Observer, Brian Alvarez and Tom Lawler, and I forget the other guy. And they were clowning the shit out of this. But they had like a longer statement where it was like Hogan talking about the genesis of this, how he saw that Gable Steveson match where he just lost. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw, the dude who won," and I forget, maybe it's in here somewhere. But he's like, "Yeah, I saw this guy celebrating with current US president." And I got so excited, brother. And then so yeah, they're doing this as like a thing where you're gonna learn who the athletes are.
But it's
like
unscripted. It's supposedly unscripted based on competition.
Yeah.
In the Hollywood Reporter article here I have about it, there's making comparisons to NBC's The Voice. So there's obviously a competitive aspect to it. They said there's potential there for winners' purses to get up to 7 figures. And they had in this article a list of some of the wrestlers who I guess are attached. Mm-hmm. The only name I recognize is Ben Askren.
Okay, yeah.
Used to be in UFC. He got knocked out really quick in a fight with a running knee.
Okay. I would be probably much more open to this if Hogan and Bischoff were not involved.
Obviously.
I think I understand the desire, maybe like when investors perhaps hear, "Oh, it's going to be like a WWE version of a real sport, freestyle wrestling." And I feel like there's been various times throughout the years where freestyle wrestling has been kind of on the verge of like being something that might be, I mean, obviously with the Olympics, every 4 years, there's always the opportunity for that kind of thing to break through to the mainstream a little bit. I mean, whenever I've seen clips of freestyle wrestling on social media, it's always like, oh man, this is actually, it gets pretty intense.
It does.
So is there a way to entertain that up? Sure, absolutely. I think that's probably, and it's a niche that's not really filled necessarily.
Yeah.
Because of that specific sport isn't really, it's not like a mainstream thing. And so I think there is absolutely an opportunity for something that they're describing where it's like, you start off learning about the people involved as kind of a docuseries, and then, and if Bischoff and Hogan bring some some amount of credibility to the idea of promoting it as an entertainment vehicle, then maybe that'll, get some investors to pony up because those are known. That's a known commodity. If they're involved in any way, shape, or form beyond that, though, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that blending, hey, brother, look at this guy over here. It's like, well, I wonder if there's going to be some issue with Hogan's from the world of fiction.
Yeah.
He's, arguably the biggest name in that world. And like, will there be confusion in terms of like, well, this is real, right?
Yeah, that would be one of the issues.
Will it muddy
potentially many with Hogan being involved, like as an on-camera featured performer,
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. There's obviously, the fact that the WWE audience already booed him. Like his own people booed him out of an arena twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, his name might not carry, on camera
the same value that it once did years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, not that I watch The Voice a lot. It's not too dissimilar in terms of how the show's constructed, as any other kind of singing or competition reality show. Whereas,
yeah, sure,
they introduce competitors, they tell their stories, how their story informs their performances, and and that's the show. That's how they present it as a storytelling format. Now, if they're going to take the athletes attached to the show, tell their stories, and with mixed martial arts being pretty popular, and wrestling is a part of that, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you can promote it as the action of UFC, just not as violent, because there's not going to be punching or strikes. And
more strategic, maybe, more strategic.
And combine that with telling interesting stories of the competitors. There might be an audience for that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential. It's just, if they were different names, like honestly, if it was
Kurt Angle attached to it,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, there's legitimacy here, and everybody loves Kurt Angle. He doesn't have anywhere near the baggage that a Hulk Hogan does. He doesn't also have like the straight up, force of name power that investors might be, pique their interest. But like I said, if it ends at that, but Hogan, like he comes in and wants to Hogan stuff.
I know.
He has a history of that. So I don't know what chance this has in terms of Hogan being involved. But it is an interesting idea. I'm sure others have probably tried it in the past. People have tried everything. Yep. But I don't know if this does land, if this does give more jobs to more wrestlers out there who are freestyle wrestlers and they can't make it, or they, don't have the, the love or desire, or passion to get into, the pro wrestling stuff or
MMA for that matter.
Or MMA, or they don't want to teach and open a gym or whatever. If this is an avenue for them to make some money, then great.
Yeah.
I hope it does well. It's just, those two names attached and immediately the presentation they're giving us is like,
yeah.
All right, before we get to the rest of the thread of things that you guys want us to talk about, and then our AEW and NXT reviews, we got a sponsor for the show today. Larson, let's talk about them.
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, Tempo, Steve. I say this confidently. You and I, we know a lot about fast food.
Probably too much.
Yeah. And I know for me, and I'm sure the case with you as well, there have been countless instances where, maybe we were busy or time was tight, and we had to settle for a lump, a greasy meat product at mealtime.
Yeah, then listen here, brother. My whole concept of fast food changed when I discovered Tempo. Tempo is a weekly delivery service that allows you to select from over 20 mindful meal choices that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes, and they're delivered fresh right to your door.
That's right. Tempo's dietitian-approved menu takes all the guesswork out of eating well, and they've got new recipes each week, like tomato pesto meatballs and braised red wine beef that are made with real, nutrient-rich ingredients, which make it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle so you can eat well without sacrificing taste or convenience.
And for a limited time, Tempo is offering Going In Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. Tempomeals.com/raw, Rules and restrictions may apply. Quick programming note before we move on to the thread of news stories that you guys want us to talk about. Tomorrow we'll be dropping a count out worst WrestleMania main events in history.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing our SmackDown review on Monday. I am headed to Los Angeles to go commandeer the Enterprise D. There's this Universal FanFest situation.
Wow, commandeer, you say. You're just not going to immerse yourself in the experience. You're looking to become captain of it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've earned that after how much Star Trek I've watched. I know the ins and outs of the ship. So eminent domain, it's mine now. I'm going to go, and whatever group I'm in, in this FanFest experience, it's mine now. I'll be assigning ranks. They're all ensigns, except Jeff, of course. Jeff's going to be with me. He'll be my commander, my, first officer. He'll do all the work. I'll get all the glory.
It sounds like the setup for a wonderful experience, a rewarding one, a once-in-a-lifetime thing you'll remember forever.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Phasers on kill, vaporize, whatever the highest setting is.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any small infraction, vaporize.
Wow.
Vulcans are our friends. Pff, vaporize. You give me that eyebrow, that Vulcan eyebrow. Vaporize that eyebrow and his head. Yeah, so that'll be exciting.
I expect you to be court-martialed in no time at all. Then, if that's your outlook.
If they can get me off my ship, it should go ahead. But ramming speed, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Bring your best, Starfleet. But yeah, no, I'm going to this LA thing. So I'm going to be doing that. I think you're going to some sort of concert. Is that right? On Friday night? Yeah. So we'll do our SmackDown review on Monday. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just I think we're just going to sort of figure it out during the summertime. Because look, it's summertime. We got kids. There's probably activities you want to do on Friday nights. So week to week, we'll just, figure out, is this going to be a big SmackDown? Do we need to watch this SmackDown on Friday night? Or is it Aleister Black versus The Miz and we can wait till Monday?
Yeah.
What's the situation? John Cena and CM Punk are going to have a face-to-face. Then we'll do it on Friday night.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the situation going forward. It'll be fluid. You guys will hang out with us regardless. Please, thank you. Let's talk about this thread here. Mark Wren, this is the most thumbs up, says the absolute head scratcher that is Hogan and Bischoff's new freestyle wrestling promotion. So we talked about that.
It's an interesting business venture, to say the least.
Noah S2000 says Liv and Drew both apparently landing big movie roles.
Yeah,
Less is known about Drew McIntyre's role.
Yeah, I just read that he's viewed as like the next person in line at WWE for the crossover.
He's signed with like Paradigm.
Paragon, yeah, the
Paragon. He signed with the Paragon. Adam Cole group.
No, it's Paragon Talent Agency. So unless Adam Cole is moonlighting as a talent agent,
hey, maybe you never know, man. I don't know what they're doing with that TNT title. Maybe they are. Let's see what else.
Canaldo Bruno says the star rating of Butterbean versus Suzuki. I still haven't seen it.
I didn't see. I didn't watch it. I don't plan on watching it. From what I saw on social media, it'd probably get a 1.5 stars.
All right, there you go.
I don't think it's probably that compelling of a match. Dustin Martin says a lot of IWC discourse around heels getting cheered and faces getting booed. Some people saying fans will cheer who's cooler. Others saying it ruins the show. I saw a smattering of this on the I haven't been on Twitter that much this week. It's getting worse by the day. But I think I saw like a smattering of this. And I guess my response is good luck with all that. Good luck with telling people who to cheer and who to boo.
Yep.
They're going to do what they're going to do. People cheer cool shit. You can't be like, oh, man, you shouldn't be cheering. Now, if creative wants a certain response to try to push a certain narrative fictionally that they're telling, then they have to be cognizant of what that means and like what they're going to have people do. And if they're not getting the response they want, they got to pivot in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know, like if it's fans telling fans what to boo and what to cheer, good luck with that. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I appreciate that wrestling companies these days are trying to present us with characters with more dimension and nuance other than just bad guy, good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes for potentially more interesting stories and way more interesting characters.
Yeah.
And if that kind of makes things a little, confusing for the fan base as far as who to cheer for and boo, whatever. For me, it's like as a television viewer, I'm there, and here's the thing. I ingest 99.999% of my wrestling as a television viewer. Therefore, I appreciate when the writing is more interesting as opposed to one-dimensional characters with one-dimensional good guys and bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This makes for a more interesting product if there's some dimension there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Good Lord. I'm looking at Twitter. It's like 95% just absolute garbage. There's that poor fellow that fell at the baseball game last night. That was a bummer.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, yeah. No, he's in like critical condition. It was a Pirates game, and he fell, off
from
like
one of the
20 feet.
upper decks to the lower one?
Well, no, I think he fell into the field from, they're like 20 feet up.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty gnarly situation there. Let's see here. Canal Zero says SummerSlam ticket prices 40,000. You mentioned that the other day.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
And my response was, people are going to pay for it.
Apparently, the $40,000 one's already sold out.
And I know your response is actually great. Bobby Roode's mission statement has come to
fruition.
Yeah. Here's another one about Hogan. Dave Matuszek says Hogan saying his favorite AEW wrestler is Tony Storm. I actually saw the quote on this one, and yeah, he's big. He was like, "Oh yeah, brother." I saw that he was really impressed that she, bladed. Yeah, and he was like, when I saw that, I'm like, these women aren't messing around, brother. And the other one, I forget her name. She's supposed to be her protege, brother. She's great too. I mean, the guy's like a million years old, bro.
Yeah, he is.
I can't expect to remember everybody's name, no. but he liked Mariah May and Tony Storm match, so he ain't crapping on it.
The champ here says Fuego del Sol losing his mask and retiring.
Yeah, man. I keep boy. He did it on his own terms, I guess, so that's good. But yeah, best of luck in whatever he's going to do next, I guess.
Yep.
Oh, here's one. Zondo says the reaction to people not catching Leon Slater. Did you see the spot from TNA? That was going around Twitter as well.
So I
mentioned the big spot.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You didn't mention any sort of conversation about.
I didn't notice it in the moment. I mean, I kind of did on replay, but he sprung right back up.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, no harm, no foul, I guess. But like when you go back and watch the replay, they don't quite. Number one, it's like this dude's almost a terminal velocity when you're up that high, and he comes. I'm joking. Yeah. It's not actually. You have to be up thousands of feet. But like when you're coming from that high, that's even for a dude who's probably like $180 maybe in terms of like how big he is. Coming down from that height, that's a lot of weight coming down.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see like Cardona, like everybody's there, and then people start to part. And AJ Francis kind of puts his arm out, and luckily that takes a big brunt of it.
Yeah.
But dude, people love to pile on, and this is a wrestlers doing wrestling things. I'm fine criticizing creative, and I'm fine criticizing matches. I'm sure they're already getting a lot of heat for this, and I'm not interested in piling on. They probably should have done a better job, But dude, that's a tough situation.
It is.
I'm so lame. I feel like they shouldn't have tried to do that spot in the first place. That's just me, But I guess it is what it is, and he's fine, and everybody's okay. So,
That's
what are
the
you gonna
important thing
do?
is that everybody's okay.
It's a miracle that more people
happen.
just don't absolutely, get themselves paralyzed left and right in the wrestling rings.
I know
all the damage they take on their bodies. So yeah, there's enough people reacting to that. that I don't need to pile on.
Rocket Man here says, let me ask you this. How do you feel about WWE's purchase of AAA? We haven't heard anything. We talked about it a lot. Talked about it the day it was announced on the WrestleMania, was it Night 1 recap?
I don't know if they mean that there hasn't been more info out there about it, or if they didn't hear our take on it. For me, the thing was
So
time will tell.
Yeah.
Like we'll know in a couple of years whether or not this is a good move or a bad move, and I understand the apprehension some people might have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Towards this kind of move being made, but it is. I mean, obviously, it is sort of like the obvious moves of a wrestling company, trying to freeze their competition out of partnerships, trying to establish a monopoly, globally speaking, on this industry. I would never say that's a good thing in any way, shape, or form. So, but hopefully they'll deliver a really good product. They'll improve on I don't know how they're going to improve on AAA, what AAA is doing. But honestly, like what they should do, if Triple H was like, hey guys, you guys are now the brain trust of AAA, I'd get with the AAA people and I'd say, listen, is there any way we can simply bring it back to like 2017? Because like what you're doing these days, it's kind of too cool. It's like too sanitized. I need more chaos.
Yeah.
I need just absolutely nutty shit going on.
Yeah.
And we need a definitive Pagano versus Chessman feud heading into 2026.
Obviously.
And they get a WrestleMania match.
Yes. Just not a match. Main event.
Night 2
main event.
Yeah, exactly.
Chipman Legend says Naito and Bushi leave in New Japan, and Thekla and Mayu Iwatani leave in Stardom.
Man, hopefully they're going to get paid wherever they go. I don't know where they're going to head to, but hopefully they're going to get paid.
Yeah. Hopefully wherever they end up, it's more money and better opportunities for them.
Yep. Let's talk about AEW.
It's a very wrestling-focused episode of Dynamite. I'm not complaining. I think they do their best work when they focus on telling stories in ring as opposed to doing long promo stuff. But if you're a fan of wrestling, then this episode of Dynamite was for you, especially that first half hour. All-star 8-man tag. It was 1,000% a PWG tag match in a small arena.
Yeah.
It was 1,000% that. I mean, they didn't do like the slow motion stuff.
It wasn't,
like
yeah.
It wasn't overtly comical like those matches can be. But there was comedy spots in this.
Sure. Yeah.
It was totally a PWG style tag match. It was a lot of fun. Super long.
It was like a half hour. It was the first half hour of the show.
Half hour, yeah. First half hour.
Yeah.
And they're starting to set up Kenny versus Okada, which is seemingly the primary focus of this match, even though it was Mark Briscoe eating the Rainmaker for Team Elite and Ricochet to get the win. But they're really starting to put pieces in place now, looking ahead to All In. It seems pretty darn clear. It has been for weeks that Mercedes is winning the Women's Own tournament to take on Toni Storm.
Yeah, they're not even trying to be coy about that one.
No.
Although Tony dancing to the Jamie Hayter song
was
great. Like my highlight of the night. That shit was so great. Unexpected.
Yeah.
God, she's amazing.
And in the main event, Hangman Adam Page defeated Kyle Fletcher. He's advancing to the finals of the Men's Owen tournament, take on Will Osprey. I mean, I would expect Osprey to win, but I could see that one going either way.
I really doubt that they're going to. I mean, they're both in situations where they could easily justify protecting the finish a bit with distractions, interference. Tony Khan also likes sometimes just having straight up and down finishes. Hey, let's just these people are here for wrestling. It might cheapen it a little bit if you have like too much distraction going on. So what do you think is more likely? We'll get, I don't know, an MJF bugging Hangman. Oh, he's in his own thing right now, though.
I mean, I guess
Fletcher with Osprey, distracting this.
Yeah. Until I see something to indicate otherwise, I'm still under the assumption that Hangman is probably, even though I haven't done a whole lot with that story of late, Hangman is going to team with Swerve against the Young Bucks at All In.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if that is to happen, then he must lose to Will Ospreay.
But how protected would it be? Like a straight up loss, or do you think it would be, Hangman can eat losses straight up and be totally fine. Like his character is so strong. For that matter, Osprey can't. There is no nobody gets hurt with a clean loss here.
No.
That being said, wrestling promoters like to protect certain wrestlers if they have future plans for them.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I don't know. I think you're right. I think, looking ahead makes more sense for Osprey because Mox is going to lose that title by the end of the year.
Yeah.
To probably Darby. That's our working theory.
Yeah.
And so he's got to beat all the bigger names right now. And in the 4-way, he beat Adam Page.
Yeah. Osprey was not in that match. So again.
Yeah. And so you'd think that it would end up being Osprey, and Osprey can beat Hangman straight up. I just wonder if they would do that, or if there is something from a story convention that they would use to try to motivate, the Elite, for example.
Yeah, I was going to say the Elite Young Bucks, especially if Page is going to face them with Swerve at All In. Mm-hmm. You really got to start, hitting the gas on getting that storyline going.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because I would not be surprised if we get Anarchy in the arena at Double or Nothing, where you have the Elite on one side, Hangman, maybe Swerve on the other.
Anarchy in the arena is going to be...
Oh, they can't have Hangman and Anarchy in the arena because Hangman's in the finals for the...
that's going to be the main event. They need a strong main event finish for Double. Has Anarchy in the... To your knowledge, do you remember, has Anarchy ever not main evented a show that it's been on? Or is it always the main event?
I think it's always been the main event.
I think it's always been the main event because I'm like, they need a killer finish to a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because the last two have kind of been like, not great, and fans have not been into it. And so an Osprey win on a 5-star match over Hangman Adam Page is that. Anarchy in Arena can be that, but there's also a lot of variables at play. It could be like, what is this crap,
Yeah, so let's assume it's Death Riders and the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm, sure.
To be 5. I think it's usually 5-on-5, right?
Yeah.
So Death Riders and the Young Bucks against
Swerve,
probably Mark Briscoe.
Speedball.
Forgetting
maybe?
names, yeah. Speedball.
Yeah, I mean just a bunch of faces.
Yeah. Which,
boy, I don't know
how that match would build towards All In.
I mean, you could do. If Mox because Mox and Joe are going to a steel cage.
Yeah. Oh, Joe could.
You
be,
could put Joe
lose.
in Anarchy in the arena.
Yeah, Joe will lose the steel cage match because we all know steel cage matches don't preclude outside interference.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, if it's just, it could be either just Joe or the Ops.
I mean, Joe, Hobbs, Swerve. Because I don't know if they're going to write Shibata off for a little bit with that chair bit. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. They didn't.
They probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because then it continues on the idea that's devastating because Hook's been off TV ever since he took that.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So for Shibata to come back right away.
Yeah. Yeah. So in any event, like if it's Anarchy, which is usually well received, or if it's Osprey Hangman, that'll be a guaranteed banger match.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they do. I feel like Double or Nothing should have a pretty solid finish to it. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that would end up being Osprey.
Yeah.
Because Hangman this is a hell of a match. Hangman, we can just sort of dive into it. Hangman advances to the final of the Owen tournament, beating Kyle Fletcher in a hell of a match. I was like, oh shit, they're going back to Fletcher versus Osprey for the finals here when he hit the low blow and then the brain buster.
Yeah.
And Hangman kicked out at like 2.999.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. You know, dude, the haircut works so good for Hangman.
I know.
When they get that close up of him, when he's in that, you know, he's got that fury going and he's about to hit that buckshot and the hair is it goes crazy in that little orbit on his head, you know?
Yeah, it does.
It's a great thing. But so in advance of the match, we have a Callis family promo. Alexander's there as well. Josh Alexander's there as well. Callis is like, I like making history. Last week, Takeshi and Alexander made history when they put down Osprey and Brody King, and I loved watching it. Kyle says after he beats Hangman and Osprey, he says, I'm going to go to All In and take the title, and you'll have no choice but to say my full name. Callis does it in a really creepy manner.
Yeah.
And then, so we've got, and then that match. But the match was absolutely phenomenal. Had a bunch of great false finishes. Just terrific stuff.
The finish
Paige
was awesome too, where Fletcher's looking for the top turnbuckle brainbuster, and Hangman fights him off, and then hits a buckshot off the top rope.
Yeah, that was rad.
I never seen him do that before, and then hits another standard buckshot to get the win. It was great.
Yeah, it was really, really great. More Owen stuff. Mercedes had an interview with Renee, a sit-down interview, where she talks about, I can go on about the legacy of the Owen, but this is not about the Hearts, it's about my legacy. She says, it was about a year ago when I won my first AEW title at Double or Nothing. She says she's not underestimating Jamie. She says she's undefeated. It's impressive because she's beaten all the very best over the globe. I am the best, the greatest. She talks about all of her titles. She said the wrestling world runs on Monet time. And she says Jamie Hayter's really good, and she reminds me a lot of myself, except for the Scooby-Doo style.
So then Tony Storm had an eliminator match against Miyu Yamashita.
Did I ever send you that picture of Tony Storm and George Lucas?
Yes.
That look on her face. If anybody wants to know what we're talking about, you can just look this up on socials. Tony Storm, George Lucas.
Instagram,
just
right?
type that in. I think probably on her Instagram, yeah. And she's got this look. Because obviously, like, he's walking by in the background, and she has this look on her face like, what is this life? B, she knows they're being cheeky by sneaking a picture with him, and he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And C, staying in character.
Yep.
It's all that stuff. She's so good.
She is so good. This is a good match. Tony gets the win here. Hits a German suplex, hip attack, storms there to get the win. Mercedes music hits, so she walks out to the ramp. She does the say hello to your CEO bit. Says, Tony, good to see you. After I beat Jamie at Double or Nothing, I'm coming for what I deserve, AEW Women's title. So Jamie Hayter walks out and steps up to Mercedes. Mercedes tries to slap her. Jamie blocks, clobbers Monet. She looks for Haterade. Mercedes ducks and runs up the tunnel. So they're playing Jamie's music, as you mentioned, to end the segment. And Tony's laying on the mat and starts dancing. And then gets up and starts dancing more.
But it's like the stupidest. It's like, because, it's a very frantic.
It's a great song.
And so she's on her back and she just starts spazzing out, basically.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, it's so funny. It's like, I don't know. It just looked like she was convulsing as opposed to dancing. It was hilarious. It was absolutely, and it's so unexpected. Oh man. Anyways, you mentioned this already. I like that AEW has embraced the All-Star 8-man tag. That's like a thing. It's like the All-Star 8-man. At first, we used to talk shit about it because we're like, okay, they're just throwing a bunch of dudes together.
Well, it used to be like sometime at the start of the second hour, they wanted to fill 20 minutes and let's have an All-Star 8-man tag. Yeah. But at least this one is people involved in stories and feuds and stuff. So
Yeah, right, exactly. It's just funny because, it used to be so random. And now it's not, but they still just call it All-Star 8-man tag. You got to embrace the ridiculousness sometimes.
I'm just bummed out there wasn't a $400,000 purse on the line for this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I like when they make a fake prize. I love that shit. I love it so much.
I like that it was just $400,000.
I know.
Why not $1 million? Why not half a
million?
million?
$100,000 each.
No, I get that.
Yeah, but
it's not like the math is too hard on $500,000.
I know it's not an even number, but it makes a weird amount of sense. It's hilarious. I love it. I mean, week to week, this MJF stuff is like the most groan worthy. It's like he comes out and it's the same fucking thing every week, and I get it's supposed to be escalating.
Yeah.
But it's just
redundant.
We didn't mention that Okada. Did we mention Okada hits the Rainmaker for the win on Briscoe?
You mentioned that earlier.
All right, just
yeah.
want to make sure.
So, like, MJF tries to get them to say yes, and Bobby once again says no, and MJF gets mad about it.
Well, what escalated here was Lashley pushes MJF in the corner. Because earlier he's like, I don't need cars. I can buy my own cars.
Yeah, MVP says, you got 2 of them already.
But Lashley pushes MJF in the corner after he gives him another thumbs down. And MJF gets upset and says, "Do you want to impress me? Why don't you go out and hurt somebody?" And then, so MJF's like, "All right, you made your point." So Lashley, backs off. And MVP, says to Shelton and Lashley, "All right, let's get out of here." So I guess in that sense, MVP's been telling MJF this whole time, you got to give the customer what they want. And he's been trying to find the one thing that will change Bobby's mind. Well, Bobby just told him what it is.
Yeah.
So in that sense, story advancement is, but like in terms of the setup for all this stuff, it's kind of the same thing every week.
I feel like they could have condensed that. Like when Bobby goes away in the car, he gives a thumb down and says, "We hurt people. Do that." And then drives away. Instead, we get another 10-minute long segment.
You didn't like how Lashley really milked his thumbs down vote? Or he's holding it, and he's like, little thumbs down.
I know. Look, the performers are fine.
No, it's thumbs down.
The performers are fine, man. It's fine. But I would have rather sacrificed that than have another one of these where it just looks like it's just the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm assuming after this we'll get, I don't know, MJF will have a match where he'll hurt somebody, and maybe that'll impress Bobby Lashley, and eventually we'll get the thumbs up.
I feel like it's got to take at least 2, if not 3 instances of MJF hurting somebody for Lashley to finally give the thumbs up. So,
I mean, that's what they'll do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, but that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we had the Ops in action against Miles Hawkins, Nick Camarado, and Rhett Titus. Mm-hmm. I've seen Rhett Titus in a while.
It has been a while. He cut his hair.
Not surprisingly.
I mean, I don't watch Ring of Honor, so he's probably been on there.
Yeah, not surprisingly, Ops get the win after Hobbs hits Hawkins with a spine buster, and the Death Riders attack the Ops after the match. Yuta tries to attack real quick and run away. Hobbs chases him down, but then Claudio blasts Hobbs from behind. Joe gets the better of Mox and starts choking him out up on the ramp. And Mox, I was like, what the hell is Mox doing at first? Because he's like pointing and kind of like laughing towards the ramp. And I'm like, what are you doing, Mox? And then they cut, and Claudio's got Shibata set up for the neutralizer on the chair that's upside down.
Yeah, right. So Joe's like, oh, my God, and he lets him go.
Because that Hook's been out of action for weeks after that. So Joe lets it go and chases off Claudio after he hits the neutralizer. So then Joe asks for a mic and yells at Mox. But Death Riders just keep on walking. They're gone.
Yeah.
So Joe says,
at least Yuta turns around and gives him the double bird.
Yeah.
But the other guys just sort of trot on off.
So Joe says, Mox, you like to come out like you got some balls, but when we start throwing hands, you act like a little bitch. He says, Mox, you came out weeks ago saying you wanted me one-on-one. All I'm trying to do is give you what you want, but it seems like you don't really want that. So you've already made you've already made the request, so let's give people what they want. If we're going to fight for the AEW title, Mox, you cowardly son of a bitch, let's do it inside a steel cage, because my name is Samoa Joe, and I'll be your next AEW champion. I don't give Joe much of a chance, but gosh darn it, he's still one of the best promos in the entire business.
Yeah, no, he's terrific.
So good. We got a video package of Stokely talking about his new partnership with FTR, what their goals are, how it came to be.
Oh, feeding family. We got Stoke on, so we can get tactile and feed family.
No Dax in this, at least talking.
I know. It's a
All
bummer.
Stokely.
Also, we had Nick Wayne from the Patriarchy defending the Ring of Honor television title against Jay Lethal. So the Patriarchy have an interview. Renee asks Nick a question, but Christian says, I'd like all questions directed to me, please. But then camera pans out and Jay Lethal's there. And he's like, yeah, you're a great champion and everything, but you're young. You got a lot to learn, a lot to prove. So why not prove it tonight? And then he challenges him to a match. And then Nick is like, I'm not warmed up, and I'm trying to focus on the best of the Super Juniors. And Christian says, he accepts. So we have that match. It's a fun match. But Nick Wayne ends up getting a win with a Fisherman Buster. And then Christian takes the Ring of Honor TV title from him. He says, turn around, and then he puts it on him. Because he says, Faja.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that Christian wants the title for himself.
What
So
is
he
your
takes it.
deal? My cat is over here barking at me. What do you want?
You got a barking cat?
Got a barking cat. She says, meow. It's her own way of barking.
All right. All right. Let's talk NXT. It seems like so Trick still wants his title shot against Oba 101, which somehow he hasn't gotten yet.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Ava's just doing this out of spite or something at this point.
Joe Hendry obviously has beef with Trick, especially after Trick attacked him at the end of Rebellion. Dark State gets involved by attacking Joe Hendry. Ava trying to work out the situation, even though she should just give Trick a one-on-one match against Oba Femi at this point. Says, Trick, you could have a shot at Oba, but you got to win a 25-man battle royal to get it.
Yeah.
Which he's not, because Joe Hendry's probably going to cost him.
Who do you think is going to win that? You think it's not going to be Joe?
No, it won't be Joe. It won't be Trick. Because Joe will... Oh, gosh. Joe will cost Trick the match. Here, I'm thinking it out. Dark State will cost Joe, or Trick and Joe will eliminate themselves at the same time. Who else? Ego? All Ego?
Has he done? He's done Oba Femi, hasn't he?
I don't think so. Not since Oba's been champion.
I could see that being the thing.
Yeah.
I could see that.
But he loses his.
They could
his
do.
shot.
Wait, did they do? They do Javon versus Oba 1-on-1 straight up.
Not since Oba's been champion.
They could do that.
Let's see. Let's look at the roster here. Some potential names. Charlie Dempsey.
I mean, I like Charlie Dempsey.
Lexus King. This is your main event of Battleground.
I mean, he did just lose the bid for the North American title on this episode, so.
Rich Holland. Rich Holland always loses title shots and gets another title shot somehow.
They've done him and Oba, haven't they? Wasn't that like a
Not
major
since
thing?
Oba's been champion.
Really?
Not since he's won the world title, no.
I'd like to hear Ridge's theme song again. That was a great theme song, I tell you what.
Wesley.
Sure. They
did
before.
They did have a program when Oba was North American champion.
Yeah. There's some names. It depends on where they're going to do it. Like their big PLE just went by. They got the next one is
the championship match at Battleground.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one that's opposite AEW, isn't it? It's opposite Double or Nothing. It's May 25th.
Oh wow.
It's opposite Double or Nothing, I think.
Yeah, it is.
And then on the 24th, they got Saturday night's main event.
Oh yeah, that's when they have their residency in Tampa. That's right.
Yeah.
So
anyways, let's just go ahead and dive into this.
Let's do it.
Joe Hendry opens up with a promo, calls out Trick Williams. He says, I'm back in front of the NXT Universe, talks about losing to Orton and then defending his title at Rebellion. He says, Trick Williams attacked me when my back was turned. He says, Trick crossed the line. He called Trick entitled, but it's worse than that. He says he used to be someone who could lead the locker room, but he couldn't stand that they weren't talking about him. They were talking about Joe Hendry. You know, it was kind of dirty the way NXT Creative did Trick. When Joe Hendry showed up, it became the Joe Hendry show.
Yep.
Anyways, he says instead of looking within, Trick blamed everyone else because he couldn't win back the NXT title. He says Trick knew that Oba wouldn't give him a title shot, so he came to TNA and attacked the champ. So he calls him out, but instead of Trick, we get Dark State. And then they attack. Hit him with the quadruple team powerbomb.
Yeah.
That's 8 sets of hands, man.
Yeah. 8 arms.
8 arms. More power to the powerbomb.
Yes, more torque, more power.
Yeah.
So later on, Trick comes to the ring for a promo. He just starts saying, Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry. I'm saying your name. You're not appearing. He says, you're lucky that Dark State got to you before I did, but even Dark State knows that Joe Hendry doesn't belong here. He says, Joe got the better of me last week, which is why I showed up at Rebellion and whooped his ass. He says, he promotes he's going to be on a CW show, All-American. making his debut on that program.
Everybody's going to Hollywood, man. What the heck?
Yeah. Says he and Joe are not on the same level. Trick says, I'm on the level of The Rock, John Cena. And he says, well, Joe is trying to figure out what his level is. I'm on to better things, and that's the NXT title. So, Oba, you know what you have, and it belongs to me. This is when Ava comes out and announces the Battle Royal. Winner of it faces Oba at Battlegrounds. Later on, we have an Oba Femi interview. He says if Trick can somehow win the Battle Royal, he'll face him at Battleground. But at Battleground, the title's going to stay on his shoulder. So Undertaker steps in.
He says, hey, I'm gonna take it from here.
All right.
Oba Femi. Big man. Guess what? This is your yard now, but guess what? It's not always going to be your yard. At some point in the far, far future, you're going to die. And if you don't have a will, your property is going to go into probate. And then who knows whose yard this will belong to.
Get yourself a trust.
Trust me, get yourself a trust. But I know the future, there's going to be somebody taking your yard. It's going to be one of these let's fucking go guys. LFG, Legends of Future Greats. And then these three jabronis step in. And Oba's like, this is the future right here. Oba, listen to me. One of these three guys is going to be in your trust to take your yard. Now, it's up to you whether you tend your own yard or you hire a lawn service to tend to your yard. I've got this yard service called Lawn and Order that showed up at my door the other day. Get it? Lawn and Order. That's actually a shoot. Lawn and Order here in town. This dude, he showed up. This is a very clever guy. I showed up. It was after we played basketball.
Yeah.
I come home, I'm a sweaty mess.
Yeah.
I'm limping up my driveway.
Lawn and Order.
And I come and I walk in. As soon as I walk in, I hear some dude walk up to my door, ring the doorbell, right?
No, he's got to do is get the dun-dun sound effect from Law and Order. Just play it really loud outside the door.
So I don't answer it because I'm like, I'm in no condition. I don't like solicitors. Lacey comes steaming out of her room. She's like, hey, did you answer the door? Loudly. And like we have like the side window thing kind of cracked. And I'm like, he heard that. I said, it's a solicitor. So I go and I open the door. I'm like, hey, man, I'm in the middle of stuff right now. And he was like, hey, I'm your neighbor. I live down the street, but I got my own landscaping. I'm like, you're not my neighbor. Like you might live within a 5-mile radius, but you're not my neighbor.
Yeah.
And he gives me the card and I take it. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I might need some services, so I might call you, but because my backyard's fucking disaster. So I'm like, because he was looking at my front. My front's kind of gnarly too. And he's like, hey, you got some stuff. He was like, do you have some stuff in the backyard that I can take care of that I can look at? And I'm like, not right now. I'm in the middle of stuff. That's what that means. I'm in the middle of stuff.
Dun dun.
He says in the criminal justice system, everybody needs their lawn done. And so I close the door and then I stop and I look at the card. I'm like, damn it, it's Lawn and Order.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oba Femi, you need to hire a Lawn and Order in Sacramento. Anyways, so yeah, he says these guys are coming for you. You expect them here in about 2 years or so when you're already on main roster.
Exactly.
And the thing that I like is Oba did not. He like looked at them first, and then when he walked away, he did not look at them. He's like, I'm not respecting these fools.
Yeah. Later on, we got NQCC backstage, and Miles is telling Ren and Tavion about the Battle Royal. He says there's going to be Evolve talent, LFG talent, and apparently TNA talent in it.
Well, wait, we're going to get Swipe Right in the Battle Royal?
Could be.
We're going to get Gallus in the Battle Royal. Let's get Joe Hendry in the Battle Royal?
Joe Hendry, yes. Joe Coffey, don't get your
I'm sorry, Joe Coffey. That's what I meant.
And Tavion tells Miles how Charlie is upset that Miles teamed with Javon Evans last week. And Miles says, it's time that we all think for ourselves. And next week, I'm in that Battle Royal. So he leaves, and Tavion's like, I want to be in the Battle Royal too, but what will Charlie think? And
who cares what Charlie thinks? You go get your own.
Complex. Yeah,
go get your own.
Later on, we got a Dark State promo from the parking lot. They just talk crap about Joe Hendry and say Dark State's just getting started.
Yeah, I can tell. They still got like indie wrestler gear. They need to jazz it up. Like Dark State needs a raise, so we can afford better gear.
Yeah.
And then we have Joe Hendry in the trainer's room. Hank and Tank step in to check on him after he got beat up by the Dark State. Joe says, I want to get my hands on Trick, but I got to get my hands on Dark State first. Hank and Tank, hey, you know what? We'll have your back. Honk, honk.
Honk, honk. Honk, honk, Steve. So then Io makes an appearance on NXT. So earlier in the day, before the show aired, Io walks into Ava's office. And Ava tells Io, you got a tag match tonight against Julia and Roxanne, but you need a partner. Have you found one yet? Io says, no. Jordan Grace steps in and says, I'll be your partner. So then after that, we have Roxanne and Julia chatting in the locker room. And Roxanne is like, Julia, when you first came to NXT, I wasn't terribly excited. But, and then Julia interrupts and says, you know what, Roxanne? You were right. And when we're together, Roxanne then finishes a sentence and says, we're unstoppable. They were stopped in the main event, which was fantastic. Which was
my God,
Perez,
this is so much fun, yeah.
And Julia teaming up against Jordan Grace and Io Sky. Hell of a main event.
Yeah, this was
so
Io's
good.
on such another level these days.
Oh, yeah.
And she's so over. Yeah, dude, this was awesome. This was great.
It was so good. So Io gets the win after avoiding or flipping out of a Pop Rocks. Did like a handspring out of a Pop Rocks.
That was rad.
Hits a kick, follows with the moonsault to get the win. Fantastic match. Go your way to watch that. After the main event, we're inside Ava's office. Stephanie Vicare's in there. And she says, I'm ready to defend my title. Who's my next challenger? And Ava says, I was thinking either Julia or Jordan Grace. And then before Stephanie could say, give me both of them, Ava goes, nope. We're having a match next week. Winner gets the title shot at Battleground.
Yep. We also had Lexis King versus Ricky Saints for the North American title.
Not a terribly competitive match here. It's pretty short, too.
Yeah, Ricky Saints gets the win. I still think they need to make Ricky Saints a bad guy, or at least give him some of that arrogance.
Yeah, I know.
We also had Sol Ruca putting that North American title on the line against Carmen Petrovic. So backstage, we had Carmen talking with Gigi and Tatum about almost winning both the WWE Women's and the Knockouts titles. Ashanti steps in, says he got Carmen a match against Sol Ruca tonight, and she's like, I'm not ready. He's like, well, go get ready then. And then we had that match. Sol gets the win with the Soul Snatcher.
Another match that wasn't terribly competitive.
Nope. Shanti gets in the ring, tries to talk to her, tries to walk away, but he doesn't let her, so she kicks him in the head. So that's a pretty toxic relationship. They gotta.
Yeah, it seems like that's the end of it too.
It's got to be done with that. And then later on, we had Sol and Zarya chatting in the locker room. Kalani steps in, talks shit. So Sol says, hey, you know what? You want a piece of me? You can step up whenever you want. Kalani's about to accept, and Zarya's like, whoa, hold on a second. She said, Sol, and I appreciate this. She's like, look, dude, you've been defending this, or you put a lot of work into capturing this. You can't just be handing out title shots left and right. So she says, if you want to step up to Sol, you got to go through me first. Now, obviously, at some point, Zarya is going to be like, hey, Sol, you're my buddy. Can I get in on this North American title action? Mm-hmm. But I appreciate that she's putting her own body on the line to try to, preserve Sol's title reign here. I thought that's a very friendly thing to do.
It is. So this was a bummer, but at least they disbanded on good terms. Metaphor broke up.
This was an absolute necessity. They're holding Lash Legend back. That's how I view this. It's Lash Legend and 3 jabronis.
So Oro and Noam are backstage, and Oro's congratulating Noam on getting the Heritage Cut back. So Lash and Jakar step in, congratulate Noam. And Noam's like, reunion time? And Lash is like, all right, we all need to sit down. A lot has changed since you've been out. Oro has always been Noam, your main man, but it's time for Oro to be his own main man on Evolve.
Well, she said he's holding it down on Evolve, and he's like, yeah, I am.
Yeah. She says it's time for Jakar to be about her action.
She's like, damn it, I'm going to be on Evolve too.
And she says, for me, it's time for me to lash out and do my thing. And Noam says, you're right.
You're right.
We need to go our separate ways to be the stars that we are.
Yeah. So I like Noam Dar. I think he's great. He's not a jabroni. None of them are jabronis.
None.
But yeah, in terms of the career trajectory, clearly I was kind of surprised, but also kind of not, because Lash has such a unique personality. And it's a big personality, and she's also physically imposing. Whenever she was showing up on main roster, for those tag matches, they would always spotlight some cool shit that she does. That to me means, yeah, she should be a solo star.
She's also broken a lot of the records. Like when they have the combine at the PC, she's broken a lot of the records that Bianca Belair had. So
I think she's going to be a big deal. I really do.
I think so too.
So this is probably better for everybody. Whether or not Oro and Jakara Jackson can break out, I don't know. But you know, I think Lash's ceiling is high, super high.
I think so too. Hank and Tank defended the tag titles against Briggs and Inamura.
This is a physical match, dude.
It was. Inamura accidentally cost his team the match, so Briggs is looking for a choke slam on Tank. Inamura picks up Hank for a body slam, and when he kind of turns him over to slam him, Hank's foot hits Briggs right in the head, and then so Tank, now that he's free of the choke slam, knocks Inamura out of the ring, and then Hank and Tank honk hit their finisher on Briggs to get the W.
I like Inamura, but I think he's going back to, well, he said last week he's going back to Noah soon.
Yeah, this is going to be his last match. Yeah,
might be the last we see of him, yeah.
Yep.
We had Tony D and Stax have, I guess, kind of a face-to-face here.
I guess like a confrontation more than face-to-face.
Yeah. So Tony comes to the ring, talks about betrayal. He's like, people were asking if I expected it to happen. No, I did not. I expected to have a conversation with Stax, but never this. Stax has always been passionate. When things start going sideways, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I always had his back because that's what loyalty is. And then Stax eventually shows up on the Tron, and he says, I was thinking about standing across from you tonight, but that's not what the Dawn would do. I'm sick of taking your orders. You're getting soft, SAWFT. He says, you were making decisions that led Dark State to think they could be pushed around. You're not capable of leading the family anymore. He said, I had to take the reins and put you in your place. You're shaken. Your underboss is gone. Luca's gone. You put Rizzo in hiding. You're probably thinking, what's next? Can you even trust your own fam?
Stax is like on a bridge.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I was expecting him to, when he was talking about Luca, like make reference to Luca being in that body of water.
I mean, it wouldn't shock. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm assuming that they're sort of playing that Luca is dead, but that he's going to end up being with Stax. Or he'll make the save for Tony. I don't know.
I think you're right about the first part, at least. The idea is that.
Yeah, right. Because they've done that before. I think this time is largely, and I hate to say this, but I feel like this is a way they've written people off who have been released. And
they did it for 2 Dimes.
Yeah, right. They did it for 2 Dimes, and they killed off somebody else. They killed off I know they did.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But anyways, now it's killing me. Anyways, so yeah, but I think in this situation, because we haven't heard that he's been released by the company, I think that he's just going to be, Yeah,
the expectation is this, and they're going to do that. So anyway, security hits the ring and attacks Tony. Tony fends them all off and says, Stax, if you want to be Dawn, you need to come here and take me out. Chase U is back, Steve.
Chase U!
So Andre Chase has a new class of students. He's talking to them. Uriah and Kale show up late. And so one of the other students is like,
Was it Damon Kemp?
I don't remember if he...
Didn't they, hire them to do that?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like that.
It was Damon Kemp, yeah. So one of the other students starts giving Uriah and Kale some crap about showing up late. And Chase, kind of looks the other way as far as the tardiness from Uriah and Kale, and then cusses out the student that was giving them shit for being late.
Oh, dude, no. Sorry. I know. I don't mean to belabor the point. He was killed off by No Quarter Catch Crew, who at the time, remember Charlie Dempsey was trying to be like Tony D?
Yes, that's what it was. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Anyways. Had to get our shit right there. Yeah, Chase U's back.
And then Sean Spears is disappointed in the calling. That's it.
Yeah.
Video package. He's just disappointed.
He says you need to forge a stronger bond for them to reach their potential, which to me says team building exercises.
Yeah.
Trust falls. Ortbo. Oh, an Ortbo. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have some Egan Oats. I was so disappointed today, dude. Because Lacey had to go. She went into the office today. And she's been doing the thing where at night, because they're overnight oats.
Yeah. You put
She
them in milk
makes
or
them.
something and let them kind of like it's
Yeah.
soft, right? Yeah.
So then I get them in the morning. And it's like you put some milk in it, heat it up. It's no different, really, than oatmeal.
Yeah.
It's oats. But yeah, I opened the fridge. There were none there. So I'm about to text her after the show and be like, there's no Egan Oats in there.
Wow.
Do not praise Kier.
Did you make your own breakfast then?
I had a breakfast sandwich. I'm kind of tired of those. And I was going to make like some scrambled eggs and sourdough toast. But like we didn't have any, like the butter was cold. I didn't take the butter out.
You don't stick the butter in the microwave for 10 seconds to soften it up a little bit?
No, because then it just sort of gets melty on the outside, but and then it just like drips in the dish, but like then it's still hard on the inside.
Do you put the whole stick in there? Just cut off what you need.
I like when it's like normal temperature. Yeah, you put it in 10, it's gonna just melt all the way.
No. This is so. There's two ways of doing it. I'll
Put butter in the air fryer.
Now you're thinking, fried butter. What a brilliant idea.
You put a whole stick in the air fryer.
There you go. I'll get what I need, put in for like 10 seconds, and like the periphery might melt a little bit, but generally you just kind of stir it all together, and it's nice and soft.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Or
Well, it's too late
what my wife
now.
does is put it in at 50% power for 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So just chop off what you need from the stick,
All right.
soften it up.
I just had a sandwich instead. It was fine. I
could've
thought
been
I
so
was
much
out of
better
my
if you had
little
butter.
thought I was out of my little Morningstar plant-based sausage patties, but I had a bunch. I had like a stash in there, so
I should let you know. I found really good turkey sausage, low in fat, no nitrates, none of that.
yeah.
High in protein.
Is it like they're okay? We'll talk about it later. Let's answer some questions here about wrestling. Lord Blake Whitehouse says, if TNA is incorporated into Worlds Collide, who would you have in an NXT versus AAA versus TNA triple threat match for both the men and women? For men, it would be Pagano versus Ed Edwards
Yeah,
versus Lexus King.
there you go. It's good.
Yeah. For the women,
Women's match would be.
is Fabi Apache still with AAA or she bounced? I
Thought
think
she
bounced.
left, but I could be wrong.
Let's see here.
That'd be Masha
Masha, okay.
versus Stephanie versus. Gosh, I don't even know who's on the AAA roster anymore.
Oh, here we go. Lady Flommer. She's the current champion.
All right, well, if we're doing champions, then that's the match.
Yeah. Let's see here. Talked about that already. Here we go. Pumpkin Savage says, how many months of this Seth faction do you think we'll get before the inevitable first betrayal? It's going to be years.
Yeah,
It'll be like 2 years.
This is the next attempt at a saga.
Yep.
Andrew Samps here says, who is the worst person possible to join Seth's faction? That's also somewhat a possibility.
Oh, somewhat of, oh boy. Somewhat of a possibility and the worst.
Now, of course, this is all dependent on how the creative is handled and how it's booked, but you could see Austin Theory joining this faction and getting nothing from it.
I'd be surprised if he got nothing from it. I think whoever they put in this is going to get pretty decent treatment. Boy, I don't know if there's a worst option because everybody's going to, I don't know. Oh, Logan Paul. I don't think it's possible.
No.
But I wouldn't want to see it.
Luis here says, can you power rank the following potential outcomes for Gunther versus Pat? Tap out, pass out, ref stoppage, Michael Cole throwing in the towel.
Oh, I
Top
like
two
that
were-
last one.
Top two were ref stoppage and Michael Cole throwing in the towel.
I don't know if that would happen, but I like that a lot. I think that's
Yeah,
a
I
great
do
way
too.
to finish.
I don't
that
know if
match.
Michael Cole would, after Pat's whole motivation is, sticking up for Michael Cole, then that Cole would then throw in the towel for Pat. That would kind of seem to be.
Well, there's the whole "if I die, I die" thing, which is
Yeah.
reminiscent of Rocky IV, where Stallone didn't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And then he
So ref
didn't.
stoppage.
Yeah, ref stoppage.
That's number one.
Blind Cinephile says, would Hangman beating Mox be a better result story-wise, and would it be a bigger pop than Darby would? Now it's a bit muddied. Back when he was so anti-swerve getting the title, but now that we've got some more complexity to Hangman, I actually don't know that it's the best story idea. I think it's better than Darby, but I think Darby, regardless, is going to get the bigger pop. He's probably so cold right now. You think he's still
I
up
know.
there?
Yeah.
God, it's freezing.
2 months.
God
He's
damn.
going to be up there. He's going to
That's
come back
too
at All In if everything goes well in terms of doing the climb, coming back, recuperating from the climb, so on and so forth. I
When's
would
All In?
expect him-
July?
Yeah, middle
he'll
of
come
July.
back.
So I'd think that would be like the best case scenario for him coming back soon would be after the main event of All In, after Mox wins.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Vicious Mockery says 2 questions. Do you think Cena claiming he's going to be taking the title with him, is there any chance they make just one world champion that crosses both SmackDown and Raw instead of a champ on each show?
I think it'd
So
be cool, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that either. Second, do you guys have a preferred way to listen or watch the show? No, whatever is convenient for you.
Wait, wait, what?
Our show is available on a multitude of platforms, whether it be audio or video. It's really just YouTube. So, Vicious Mockery is asking, do we have a preferred way for friendos to watch or listen to the show? No, just
Nope. Whatever way is best for you works for us. Ignacio has a film question. He says, "What's a better or creepier villain, Anton Chigurh or the original Michael Myers?" To me, it's Chigurh.
Yeah, it's more grounded in reality to an extent.
Yeah.
Therefore, more terrifying.
Let's see here. We got an answer to that one.
Shavon here says, the Bloodline storyline was made into a film series. Who would you have direct it?
Michael Mann.
It's good. It's good. Francis Ford Coppola from 1970 to 75.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's epic. Let's see here. Ryan Big Dog Hansen. Who would be the best 5 versus 5 War Games match? Rollins and Breaker and 3 more versus Sami Zayn and 4 more. Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
That is a lot. That's basically a casting question at this point.
I know. Rollins, Breaker, Bronson Reed.
I don't know, because he and Seth had that feud.
Well, now he sees the vision. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
you're a
could
bad
be.
guy now. Sammy's. Who are other good guys on Raw?
On Raw. Well, it'd be
Yeah.
Punk. Punk would be on that team.
Punk, Sammy, Roman.
Jay
How
and
about
Jimmy. It's the
Jay
same
and
team
Jimmy?
as the War Games last year.
Gonna do it again. And then, Rollins, Breaker, Theory, Waller, and Reed. Boom, boom,
Greg
boom.
Morris, Diehard Homer, says, who's on your action movie star Mount Rushmore? So action movie star.
I don't know, man.
Harrison Ford,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, I'd consider.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely
Adventure movies at the least.
He was the president in the Air Force One.
He was.
I mean, I'd probably just go Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Yeah, I'd put Arnold on there for sure.
And then, Jason Statham.
All right.
That guy sort of took that
Yeah.
that thing. So that'd be my Mount Rushmore, I guess.
Let's see.
Johnny
Matt Linder-
Ruiz says.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is the last one I have over here.
All right,
So
I got
Johnny Ruiz says, You guys think Cena picks up any other titles this year? Survey says no.
Not going to happen. Matt Linder says, do you guys see any of the male NXT wrestlers getting over on Maine besides Trick, Oba, and Ricky?
Oh, man, you never know, dude. Gimmick changes everything. I think that Charlie Dempsey has a good chance.
Yeah.
I think Miles Bourne has a good chance.
Yeah.
I think if Tavion develops
Tavion
a character,
does too.
Tavion
Yeah.
could be huge.
Yeah.
And for that matter, Ren Sinclair. I mean, is this men specific?
Yeah.
Okay. Lexus King might have a road to becoming like shit heel, you know?
Yeah, he's got to really lean
Maine?
into the ridiculous.
Yeah. I think there's a role for him there.
I mean, Ethan Page could...
Oh,
he'll
Ethan
have a
Page.
role, kind of like Miz level, I think. But
Ethan would be good in that Seth faction. I think Ethan could work there.
yeah,
That would be that would be pretty interesting. Because it's like a different type character than Ron Breaker.
yeah. Let's end on this one. It's from Alex Foster. Steve, if you claimed you were going to ruin Star Trek, how would you do it? I think what you described earlier, commandeering a Starfleet vessel.
Oh, that's perfecting it, actually. If I were to, I mean, that's easy, just take the first 2 seasons of Picard and just make that kind of shit. The first 2 seasons of Picard were terrible.
Yeah.
Not good at all. The 3rd season's great, but the first 2 seasons are just not good. So whoever did that stuff, I would just do more of that stuff. So yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Anyways, that'll do it for the show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.